Good afternoon. Mr. Ty Crow, the Director of the Pastoral Care Department at the Johns Hopkins Hospital, will now offer the invocation.
Will you please join me in prayer? Beloved God, you are known by many names and through many faith traditions. We ask your blessing on this wonderful gathering. We ask your blessing as we seek to honor and celebrate all the hard work, the dedication, and achievement that's represented here among us. Beloved God, with your holy light, bless us. Amen.
Please be seated. Good afternoon. My name is Paul Rothman. I am the Dean and CEO of Johns Hopkins Medicine. I'd like to welcome everyone to this afternoon's convocation. It's a tremendous honor and privilege to me to celebrate this exciting milestone in your lives. You, the 279 members of the Johns Hopkins Medicine class of 2013, from MDs to the PhDs to the Masters of Arts and the Masters of Science, I'm pleased to be with you this afternoon when you begin what promises to be an extraordinary future. Yours is an enormously varied class with members from 23 nations, 22 of those represented in the ranks of the PhD, 6 nations among our MDs, and 7 among our Masters of Arts and Masters of Science graduates. You range in age from 23 to 46. You're Asian, African, Caucasian, and Hispanic. I'd like to congratulate you on the culmination of years of dedication, study, and sacrifice. I'd also like to note that today launches what likely will be decades of great possibility and responsibility for you in medicine. Finally, I'd like to congratulate all of the parents, grandparents, friends, and families that have taken this journey with you. For the medical students, you're entering medicine at a time of tremendous change in the nation's healthcare landscape. Yet, like those before you, you assume the responsibility of ensuring that the best possible care is provided to the patients, one person, one family, one situation at a time. You'll be able to actively participate in the growing focus now underway to concentrate and promote the overall health of our communities and the population in general. Because of your experience here at Hopkins, which has had a worldwide impact on medicine for more than a century, you may be called upon to solve health problems in a wide variety of communities. You also may be asked to solve some of the collective issues that we all face in our field. For the PhD students graduating today, you're entering a time of unprecedented scientific advances. Technological advances that now allow us to sequence a genome in a day and visualize the movement of individual cells in a living creature. However, cutbacks in federal funding of our biomedical research infrastructure challenge us daily. When you consider all this, it'd be completely understandable if, along with the exhilaration, you feel just a tad nervous today. That's perfectly okay. Don't worry. At Hopkins, we've been training scientists and physicians for 130 years, and we all turned out reasonably well. I'm supremely confident that whatever field you pursue in the future, you'll be exceptional. After all, consider this. 4 years ago, the medical students in the audience showed the initiative and foresight to sign up for the Johns Hopkins brand new Genes to Society curriculum. There was no track record to compare to other medical schools, no graduates who had trained in this curriculum and gone on to do amazing things. Although Hopkins has a stellar faculty and a deep devotion to its core mission that any bright young student would find attractive, some may have suggested that there was a modicum of risk involved in your decision to join the class here and to spend all 4 years in this new curriculum. If you felt that way, let me offer this advice. Never lose the willingness to take risks. Risk-taking coupled with determination and skill is what has led to nearly every great success, no matter the field of endeavor. Nothing great in this world is accomplished without risk. Indeed, as some of you probably know, there were serious risks involved with the opening of the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine in 1893. You see, our founder, Johns Hopkins, had bequeathed the then unprecedented sum of $7 million to create both a university and a teaching hospital in his name. But by 1889, the finances had gone south because of a downturn in the economy, and there was no money to start a medical school. They needed some $500,000, which was a staggering amount to open the school. At that time, another great Baltimore philanthropist, Mary Elizabeth Garrett, whose father was a railroad magnate, John Garrett, and had been friends both with Mr. Hopkins and with Abraham Lincoln, decided to take a risk. She dug into her own finances and came up with over $450,000 to found the School of Medicine. What's more, she told the Hopkins trustees and the faculty that her gift came with some risky conditions that ultimately transformed medical education in the United States and the world. Ms. Garrett first stipulated that women had to be accepted as students to the Hopkins Medical School, as she put it, on the same terms as men. So how was this risky? Well, in 1892, there was no such thing as co-educational medical schools. Men didn't like the idea of learning medicine alongside women. That sounds ridiculous, right? Well, do you know that Harvard Medical School didn't accept women till 1947? So in 1892, it actually was pretty risky to take women into the class. Ms. Garrett, I think, would be very proud to know that of the 279 of you here today, 150 are women. Ms. Garrett's second risky... So Ms. Garrett's second risky condition was a rigorous, unprecedented set of academic requirements be mandated for admission to this medical school. People had to have a bachelor's degree coming in. They had to be able to read in French and German, which were the languages that their texts were in at the time. And she also said that to graduate, you both had to do very well in basic science and very well in your clinical rotations. Sounds familiar, right? Well, in fact, that was pretty risky at the time. It was such a risk that the faculty there was a little unclear that they would be able to fill the class. We take for granted that these qualities was something we could do then, but at that time, it was very, very risky. So they didn't publicize the opening of the class. They were scared they couldn't recruit to the class. In fact, they were able to recruit in the initial class 4 women. Is that right? I lost my place. Yes, unless I'm wrong. Okay, there were 3 women, I'm sorry, out of the 18 initial students, which was a respectable amount for that time. And the next year, they were up to having 40 students, including 8 women in the second class. And after that, it just grew and grew to be bigger and bigger classes. What's more, the Hopkins standard became the model that every other medical school in the country could follow after the Flexner Report came out in 1910. Medical education in this country was forever transformed. This was not the only risk that happened at Johns Hopkins. I'll give you a couple other salient examples. In 1896, Harvey Cushing was then a young resident at Hopkins. He was the first one to use an experimental hand-cranked X-ray, which he invented to locate a bullet that was lodged in the neck of a woman who he was scheduled to operate on. Sounds very familiar to people in East Baltimore, isn't it? In addition, other people scoffed at him at this time, and he introduced the idea of monitoring blood pressure during operations. Soon that became universal practice, and Dr. Cushing became the father of neurosurgery. Hopkins-trained physicians played a key role in the conquering of yellow fever, in part by experimenting on themselves. James Carroll and Jesse Lazar, both who were graduate students under the founding dean, William Welch, allowed themselves to be bitten by infected mosquitoes while participating in the U.S. Army Medical Commission in Cuba, headed by Walter Reed, who was another Welsh protege. Those experiments proved that yellow fever was transmitted by mosquitoes and led to its eradication. More recently, Victor McCusack, who was a 1946 graduate of the Hopkins School of Medicine and its longest continuously serving faculty member, was told by colleagues in the mid-1950s that he was foolish to abandon a promising career in cardiology to pursue the study of something that was considered little more than the medical equivalent of stamp collecting, genetics. Some people weren't even sure genetics was science. As Dr. McCusack recalled, many peers thought he was committing professional suicide, giving up a career in cardiology to study rare, unimportant conditions such as Marfan syndrome and dwarfism. Yet, because of that risk, Victor McCusack became the father of medical genetics, a discipline that is likely and destined to be the driving force in many medical breakthroughs in the 21st century. The point is, if you're passionate about an idea that will benefit your patients and or your community, push for it until it's realized. Do not allow the system or medical convention to prevent you from pursuing what you know is right. In my own career, I've taken a couple risks, and the one that I wanted to share with you when I was a faculty member at Columbia University. I accepted the position as the founding head of the Division of Pulmonary Allergy Critical Care Medicine. So that's what was very risky about that. Well, I did not know anything about pulmonary allergy or critical care medicine because I am a rheumatologist. But I trusted myself and the then chair of medicine at Columbia, Dr. Mike Weisfeld, who now heads the Department of Medicine here, that he convinced me that this was the right thing to do. And though I was a little unnerved at the time, it has subsequently opened doors for me and to explore many fascinating and gratifying subjects that have become the highlights of my career, and also has allowed me to obtain even greater responsibility and potential impact, not least of which is this position here as a Dean and CEO at Johns Hopkins. More important, taking risks allow me to do the most good for the largest number of people through my work in medicine, and that should always be the bottom line. Naturally, along the way, we will make mistakes. Michael Jordan, the legendary basketball player, once said, "I've missed 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times he was trusted to take the game-winning shot and he missed. And that's why he succeeded." Whether through scientific discovery or medical practice, as you graduate today, you all have the potential to make impact on the world around you. Take all the shots you can. Make a difference. I wish the best of you in careers. I look forward to one day learning of the great work that you've done in the future. Congratulations to all of you on a truly, truly day of celebration. Thank you. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Tom Koenig, who is the Associate Dean for Student Affairs. Tom?
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to add my welcome to that of Dean Rothman's, to all of our graduates, their families, their friends, and my valued colleagues here. Today is a wonderful day of celebration, of goals met and exceeded, of dreams realized, and of the infinite possibilities that the future holds for you and for the patients you will care for. It's also a time of thanks, a chance for you to reflect on the incredible support you have received from parents and other relatives, from friends, from prior teachers, professors, and advisors, all of whom saw the wonderful potential in you being realized today. It's also a time to give thanks to the faculty here, both those assembled and those in absentia, who taught you, who believed in you, cheered you, coached you, and so happily rejoiced with you in your many accomplishments. Today's also a chance for us in the faculty administration to thank you all for entrusting us with your education, for believing in what we had to offer, and in what this institution has and always will stand for. But it is also a chance for all of us, graduates and faculty and practicing physicians here in the auditorium, to once again remember the unrepayable debt of gratitude that we all owe to our best teachers, our patients. From them, we've learned about the pathology of disease and its treatment. But infinitely more importantly, they have taught us time and time again about openness, trust, grace, and resilience. Please remember, wherever your immediate or long-term paths may take you, you are part of this institution, and we are part of you. Take care of your patients. Take care of those in your life whom you love and are loved by. And please remember to take care of yourselves. Congratulations, class of 2013. It is now my great pleasure to introduce the medical student speaker at today's convocation, Anirudh Ramesh. Ani, could you please come forward? Ani was born in India and raised in both the UAE and the United States. He attended Cornell to study biology, and we were very, very lucky that he chose to come here for medical school to obtain his MD degree today. We are equally lucky that he has chosen to stay with us for another few years to partake in a combined medicine peds residency program here. Please welcome Ani Ramesh.
Hello, everyone. Friends, family, faculty, thank you all for being here today. To start off, I just want to say that I'm really grateful to be here because it's probably the last time I'll ever be invited to the stage of a world-class symphony orchestra, so I'm going to make the most of this. It's also really nice to be indoors. I remember that I gave a speech at my high school graduation, which my parents will recall fondly, I guess. And we were on the football field for my high school graduation, another venue I clearly don't belong at. The thermometer was inching up to about 100 degrees, and people were swooning left and right. Like literally, I was watching the stage, and people were just clumping over. I didn't know if it was the heat or my speech, so I guess today's going to be the second part of this experiment. You'll see, I'll watch you guys and see if anyone clumps over for this speech. And if anyone does feel ill because of anything I say, remember, call 544-44. And Dr. Young will save the day after the simulation has ended. And sorry about the inside jokes in advance to the audience. For clarification, please email Dean Koenig. He will welcome your emails and respond to each of them. I'm kidding about that. I think he'll kick me out of residency if you actually do that. So a journey of at least 4 years culminates today for the class of 2013. And we pause to take a moment to recognize achievement, recognize determination, and to recognize the capacity to memorize useless mnemonics. It is this last virtue that I hope to spend the next several minutes discussing, talking about all my favorite mnemonics from medical school. I'll start with this famous one about the cranial nerves. Oh, oh, oh. To touch and feel very green leafy vegetables and herbs. I think that's the one all of us learned. I think the only thing that medical students want to hear less at this point than medical school mnemonics is the sound of a flight attendant calling overhead for a medical personnel to show up while we're returning from any of our exotic vacations. I'm looking at you, tan people. So speaking of these beautiful and tan people, I have a few more words about them. The group of students here today is made up of the most caring, genuine, and passionate individuals I've met in my life. And in many ways, our class is a historic one. We were the first in the Armstrong building. We were the first to experience the Genes Society curriculum. And soon after, we were the first to complain about the Genes Society curriculum. I think Dr. Wiener can attest to that. We've celebrated so many momentous occasions together, from birthdays to engagements, weddings, and new met 13 babies, so I'm really proud to be here. But what I think makes the class of 2013 truly special is the consistent leadership we have shown in advocating for the well-being of the marginalized and the underserved. Each of you is exceptional, and our combined strength could not have been clearer to me than when we came together as a community and stood up for what we fiercely believed in. It gives me great hope to enter this profession, accompanied by so many individuals who will continue to give their hearts to those who are in need, and I hope that never changes. This is an important day. For 4 years or more, we have been working towards one thing, the privilege of helping people when they are their most vulnerable, all while doing something that we love. How many people can say that? We are really lucky. But it's also easy to see how we can lose our way, how we can lose sight of this tremendous privilege during the next phase of our life. Arduous hours, trying personalities, systems built to confound rather than inspire, and fear of the uncertain. How can we hold on to the light which has motivated us to come this far? What will it take to ensure that we emerge from residency as hopeful as we were on the day we entered medical school? I encourage you all to ask that question, for each of us will have a different answer. For me, the answer is clear. It's the small moments with patients and families that keep me going. Those slivers of time when I say something to a patient that just seems to click with him, when I reach out to a colleague in distress, when amidst my busy day of running around the hospital, I stop to say goodnight to my patient, that I'll see them tomorrow, that I think they'll be okay. These moments can be extremely fulfilling, but we can only experience them by listening, by reflecting, and by opening our hearts to the stories that surround us. Today we are doctors. We take the oath that signifies our entry into this profession. And by staying true to our core values of service, empathy, and courage, we will soon become healers. Congratulations, you all deserve it.
Thank you. I now would like to introduce Dr. Peter Maloney, who's the Associate Dean for Graduate Affairs. Peter.
Thank you, Dr. Rothman, and good afternoon and welcome to this year's ceremonies, everybody. But for the next 2 or 3 minutes, I want to focus specifically on our graduate students to tell them congratulations, the class of 2013. This is your day to celebrate. You have deserved it, and I salute you for it. I also think it's a good time to remind you and your family and your friends of the special character of the degree that you're receiving. We all know that in any discipline, success in an advanced degree requires hard work, long hours, dedication to detail. But for most of you, you'll be receiving a degree in an experimental science. And by now, you know, just as I do, that experiments don't always correlate with long hours, hard work, dedication to detail, or at least the ones that yield new information don't always correlate. There's no simple correlation there. I'm pretty sure, for example, that on a Tuesday, the experiment you did on Monday doesn't look quite so good after you've now recalculated the data, having had a good night's sleep. I'm also pretty sure that on at least one occasion, you and your thesis advisor have disagreed on how to interpret that experiment, or perhaps how many more of those experiments might be needed and what direction they might go. But you have succeeded despite these apparent obstacles, and by doing so, let me remind you that you have mastered an unexpected, unanticipated skill. And I don't just mean coping with that experiment that doesn't seem to work. What I mean is that when confronted with that experiment, you immediately challenge your initial assumptions, perhaps they were overly naive. You assess their strengths and weaknesses, you integrate them with other information, and then you move forward once again on Wednesday to do another experiment, perhaps even in a new direction, but always the better for that first step. Now, I think that's probably the most important skill that you've learned here in your graduate career, and it's going to stay with you for the rest of your professional life. We both know this new skill took some time to develop. I assure you that time was both necessary and valuable, well spent. As your faculty, and I speak for all of us on the stage, I hope we play some small part in that because you deserve the major credit, but I hope we supported you along the way. Because one thing I want to leave you with is the knowledge that we are very proud of you. We have seen you grow from that eager young student who first came to us to what we now see in front of us, a valued colleague and a trusted partner. So once again, congratulations to the class of 2013. Thank you. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our graduate student speaker, Lisa Huang, Chengren Lang. Lisa, would you come up here? Lisa came to us from UCLA, where she majored in biochemistry and graduated with honors at the department level, at the school level, and at the university level. Quite an accomplishment. She elected to join the program in human genetics and molecular biology and to work with Jeff Buca, where she studies now retrotransposon in the human population, work for which she won an award at our Young Investigators Day several years ago. She will put her scientific knowledge to new use in a new different arena when she finishes her postdoctoral tenure in Dr. Buca's lab and moves on to the London-based consulting firm LEK. When I talked to Jeff Buca about Lisa, he told me she was a double threat. She's earned both a master's degree and a PhD degree while here with us. The master's was in biostatistics, so she's as comfortable in the lab doing experiments as she is in front of a computer. I might call her a quadruple threat because I know she's also an active mountaineer as well as an experienced scuba diver. So please welcome Lisa as our graduate student speaker.
Thanks for the wonderful introduction. So, good afternoon, faculty, family, friends, and fellow graduates. It's truly my honor to speak here today. So, when I first started graduate school, I thought PhD was all about research, working to advance the knowledge of mankind and to make the world a better place. While that might be the direction that we're heading, unfortunately, there's a great chance that we won't get there. In the world of research, even a lifetime is considered short, let alone a single PhD study. So what is PhD beyond research? What do all our experiences have in common? So the first thing that comes into mind is actually the countless failures and rejections. All of us have had experiments that didn't work, and until today, we still remember how our hearts dropped that late night, probably one day before lab meeting, and we realized that nothing had worked, no matter how desperate we may have wanted it or how many times have we tried. All of us have been rejected by journals or by proposal committees, or even both. Reading the critiques, at first I felt only anger aimed at faceless reviewers. But again and again, we learn to gather ourselves in the morning, we learn to remain passionate and determined, to never give up on our goal no matter how unlikely it may seem. Most importantly, we learn to absorb the sting of failure, we learn to ingest criticism, we learn to accept its value, and to turn it to our advantage. This is how we got here today. One of my best friends, she actually fainted the first time she had to work with mice. But she kept at it, determined to confirm her hypothesis. What we experience today in our graduate study is often driven by our project. In this interdisciplinary era, we're frequently taken to somewhere unexpected. Some of us went from biologists to extensive programmers, speaking from experience. And some of us went from biochemists to studying quantum mechanics or building novel statistical models. These are stories that we hear in today's graduate school. Expertise or background doesn't seem to matter anymore. What matters is the ability to adapt quickly. We have established the capacity to take in huge amount of information in a very short amount of time. We are able to think on our feet and devise practical solutions to unforeseen problems. We have learned to approach these problems systematically by reducing to their component parts and solving them one by one. Perhaps one of the most important lessons that we have learned in graduate school is the ability to think critically, to take an unbiased view of any subject, independent of the textbook, the literature, or even what our mentor tells us. In our graduate school, this occurs on a daily basis as we evaluate the meaning of our result. Obviously, I don't mean we disagree with our mentor every day. In this world where the media are increasingly biased, inaccurate, and often represent opinions from individuals rather than fact, critical thinking protects us from being passive recipients of information, and it transforms us into active participants, capable of differentiating truth from falsehood and capable of influencing outcome. Due to the several recent incidents, Hopkins community has sustained widespread media attention, and we all experience the necessity for critical thinking. I'm so proud that we were able to establish our own thought and act rationally. Many people measure how successful we are by the number of papers we publish, but those who do ignore many talents that we acquire in graduate school. The capacity to synthesize information, the ability to think independently, and the mental strength to sustain repeated failures. These are valuable life lessons that would set us apart, and these are the qualities that would allow us to succeed in any path that we choose in the future. Don't let others define us. We need to define ourselves. And as a class, we can show everyone what a PhD really means. Congratulations, class of 2013. Thanks.
Thank you, Lisa. It is now a pleasure and honor for me to introduce our convocation speaker for the evening, our own Dr. John Losh. So I say our own, but he's only our own for a little longer. So Dr. Losh was appointed to run one of the large institutes at the National Institutes of Health, which is called the National Institute of General Medical Studies. It is the largest funder of very basic research and education at NIH, and although we feel the loss of John here at Hopkins, I feel confident that John will now be running this institute, and it is, I think, a great gain for the nation that John is taking on this great challenge. Dr. Losh is a renowned biophysicist. His research has focused on fundamentally the initiation of translation, which for those who don't know is how proteins are made in the cell. Not only has John done really world-changing research, he has at Hopkins really allowed us to move forward in several of our educational venues. He's been key in the development of the Genes to Society curriculum and its implementation. He's also pushed us into thinking outside the box in the way we train our graduate students here. Beyond the walls of Hopkins, John actually has taken on greater challenges, working with local high school students and developing summer programs to help teach them basic research. So John's a very special person and has meant a ton to Hopkins. And just to give you, I have a wonderful quote for him that I think its essence tells you how much he believes in basic research and its importance. He's quoted as saying, "The idea that one day you can understand a medical issue in the way you can understand how a car works has always appealed to me. If you want to fix something like a mechanic can fix a car, you have to be able to understand it at the same level that a mechanic understands how a car works." The quote is pure John Losh, clear and resonant, common sense and a touch of humor. We are going to miss him, but we are so happy that he's going to be our speaker this evening. Please welcome John Losh.
I must say you're very wise to clap before my speech, because at least once you'll clap for me really from the heart. So how do you like my stylish pink robes? It occurred to me that I looked sort of like a giant strawberry, so I was trying to find a green hat, but all I could find was this green tassel. I think the effect is still pretty good. You guys, on the other hand, looked like a bunch of bumblebees. So I was trying to get Mary Foy to change the recessional march to be Flight of the Bumblebee, but she didn't think it would sound so good on brass, so you guys, they're gone. I was promised a backup band for my interpretive dance segment of my speech, so I guess I'm going to have to scratch that part. So I want to spend most of my 2-hour time slot talking to the soon-to-be graduates, but first I want to address your parents for a second. What did you guys do? You raised the most amazing group of kids I've ever seen, and I was thinking that you guys should really get together and maybe think about writing a book, one of these parenting guides, something like the guide, the Parents of Johns Hopkins School of Medicine Graduates Guide to Raising Amazing Children. I think it would be a surefire New York Times bestseller, Oprah Winfrey Book of the Month, and it would probably help you pay off some of your children's accumulated school debt. So, guys, I think your parents deserve a hand. So, as a father of 2 teenage daughters, if any of you parents have any advice for me, I'll be by the punch bowl after the ceremony. Now, to this amazing group of soon-to-be graduates, there are a lot of dangers in giving a commencement speech. One might say too much or too little. One could easily fall into the traps of pretension or triteness or simply repeat things that have been said many times before. One could talk about politics or religion or atheism or money or sports, none of them my strong suits. One could go over the 2-hour time limit allotted to me by the dean, and I'm sure he would not appreciate me trespassing on his generous time allotment. A local blogger summed up the dangers of inviting me to speak as follows. The risk instead may be that Lorsch will enthuse too much about the early days of RNA enzyme study. I cannot promise that I will not be pretentious or trite or tread on ground that has been well walked by many graduation speakers before me, but I will promise you one thing. I will not enthuse too much about the early days of RNA enzyme study. I want to talk to you instead about bumper stickers. In particular, about 2 bumper stickers I have seen while driving around Baltimore. The first said, "Don't believe everything you think." Here's the thing, and I hate to tell it to you so late in the game, but some of what we taught you is wrong. No, don't worry, most of it's right. But some of the facts we taught you will turn out not to be true. Which ones were wrong? They're starting to look a little panicked down here, I gotta tell you. That's the trouble. We don't know. That's what you need to find out. Use the knowledge you have gained here, but constantly question what you think you know. Carry an ember of doubt with you and keep it glowing. I tell my lab that it's usually when things are the most confusing and making the least sense that you are on the verge of a breakthrough. At times like these, rather than abandoning the project, begin to question the facts. Now, some people say that to be a doctor, you just need to learn the rules. If you see these symptoms, you do this test and that test, and based on the results, you prescribe this drug or that drug. But ultimately, that is not why you spent the last 4 years in medical school, and why you're going to spend several more as interns and residents. You could have learned the rules, such as they are, in much less time. Your job as MDs is to figure out what is going on when things don't make sense, when the tests you are taught to use don't differentiate the diagnoses, when the drug doesn't work the way it's supposed to. Robots will one day be able to do differential diagnoses, but turning the ember of doubt into a blaze of enlightenment will remain beyond them. They don't have the breath you have. Blowing on those embers is your job. Those of you among the graduate students who are unfortunate enough to be in my section of Method and Logic all those years ago may remember the series of classic molecular biology papers we read at the beginning of the course. We learned about the discovery of the double helical structure of DNA, and about its semi-conservative replication. And that's science, by the way, not politics. We read the classic Benzer paper about the nature of mutations, and then about how Crick used these studies to show that the genetic code uses words that are 3 letters long. Then we talked about our own Howard Dinsis's experiments that determined the direction of protein synthesis. And then we came to that sad, sad tale of the group who looked at the apparent simplicity of these results and assumed that all of molecular biology must be simple. They set out to determine the direction in which the ribosome reads the mRNA to complement Howard's studies on the direction of peptide synthesis. And they got it backwards. They got it backwards because they thought the experimental system they were using was simple, but it wasn't. And this made their data impossible to interpret correctly. They believed what they thought. You guys are incredibly smart, and you have done amazing things. You've passed exams with questions that weren't questions, and with other questions that had 3 right answers. You have mastered skills, made discoveries and diagnoses, and pushed us all deeper into the frontiers of knowledge. But I'm afraid I have to tell you that you will still be students even after Dean Rothman hands you your diploma that says you have a master's degree or a PhD or an MD. Even the august and erudite people behind me on this stage don't know everything. They are still students too, and most of them graduated eons ago. Confidence is important, to be sure, but the ember of doubt is just as important. Keep it with you and remember to blow on it, not just in the lab or in the clinic, but everywhere you go. Am I sure he is wrong? Am I sure I am right? Okay, I was in danger there for a minute of enthusing too much about the early days of RNA studies, so I'm going to move on to the next bumper sticker. The second bumper sticker said, "It doesn't matter what job you do, it only matters that you do it well." When I first saw it on an old Toyota in front of me on the Alameda, I thought, man, that's stupid. Of course it matters what job you do. But then I thought about it for a minute, and I realized just how profound that sticker really was. Obviously, the job you do should be of some benefit to society. But beyond that, the point of the bumper sticker, at least as I saw it, was that you should strive to make yourself invaluable no matter what your role. You are going to hear from a lot of people, some of them successful senior colleagues, that you should focus on your own career. Just do what you need to do to advance your career goals, whether they are in neurosurgery, neuroscience, pediatrics, or public policy. They will tell you to say no to distractions like teaching assignments, or mentoring younger employees. They will tell you to decline committee service that doesn't advance your immediate interests, and in general, not to take on anything that is not an obvious step on the path from where you are to where you think you want to be in 5 years. But that is a bankrupt philosophy. You want to become invaluable, and you become invaluable by saying yes, by helping when people ask you to help, by diving headlong into teaching and mentoring. You become invaluable by doing things that are not in your job descriptions. That's what it means to do your job well. I want to close by giving you an example of someone who did his job well. My father-in-law, Joseph Saltzman, passed away at the end of March. He was born in Ohio, the son of an engineer. He was always fascinated by history, current events, and geography. During World War II, he was drafted into the U.S. Army and sent to the European theater. He landed in Normandy on D-Day +2 when the smoke was still settling. He was part of an Army intelligence unit under the control of Wild Bill Donovan, who later went on to help found the Central Intelligence Agency. Donovan apparently took note of the young Joe Saltzman and must have considered him someone who would not shy away from an assignment beyond his job description. Rather than having Joe read maps or aerial photos, his nominal job, he sent him across enemy lines somewhere in Belgium with a specific goal of being captured. The idea was that he would then escape from the Germans after a month or so in captivity, bringing intelligence and other Allied prisoners with him when he did. The actual merits of this plan may have been dubious, but Joe was successful in getting captured, perhaps the easiest part of the job, and was also successful eventually in escaping from the Germans and making his way back to Allied lines. The heroism of his acts is only slightly tempered by the fact that his captors actually escaped with him so they could surrender to the Allies rather than face the Russians advancing from the east. Joe was awarded both the Purple Heart and the Bronze Star for this adventure. After the war, he went to the University of Montana, where he majored in forestry and became a smoke jumper, parachuting into wildfires to put them out. He jumped on the infamous Man Gulch fire that claimed the lives of 12 other smoke jumpers. When the time came to find a longer-term and perhaps longer-lived occupation, he followed his interest in history and current events and headed to Washington to take a shot at a position in the diplomatic service. Partly because of his work for Wild Bill, he soon found himself with several offers. He spent the rest of his career representing the United States overseas in Iran, Morocco, France, and Switzerland. Most of his exploits are, sadly, lost to history, but it's clear from the few of them he told me that he had extraordinary adventures and he did great things for our country. I had the sad privilege last month of seeing him buried with full military honors, a 21-gun salute, taps, a folded flag, in Arlington National Cemetery. So why am I telling you about Joe? Because Joe was not someone who spent much time thinking about his career trajectory and how to optimize it, yet he did great things. And he was not alone in this outlook on life. He was an archetype of the greatest generation who said yes to doing things that were not in their job descriptions or on the immediate path to their career goals. They did extraordinary things because they said yes, not in spite of it. They did their jobs well. I hope you will look to their senses of adventure and their willingness to take on challenges, whether they were on career pathway or off of it, and use their generation as your role models. So today, you and I are proud graduates of this extraordinary institution together. I hope you will miss Hopkins as much as I know I will. These are incredible people standing behind me, incredible teachers, incredible scientists, incredible physicians, and incredible mentors. You are where you are today because they said yes. So to thank them, instead of applause, and this I hope is how traditions are born, can I hear one giant bumblebee buzz? Yes. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
One of my happy responsibilities this afternoon is to announce the student awards. Many of our students from both their graduate studies and medical studies have already received numerous awards in recognition of their extraordinary accomplishments. Many of these are listed in the program for the Convocation. I would strongly recommend that you please peruse those to look at the breadth of achievement that these amazing young people have already done. The first awards we would like to do have already been given out earlier this week. These relate to induction into the Alpha Omega Alpha Medical Honor Society. The Alpha chapter of Maryland was established at the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine in 1906. Medical students with outstanding records are elected to membership in their senior year. The following members of the graduating class have been elected to membership in Alpha Omega Alpha. As I call your names, I ask that you please stand and remain standing, and would ask the audience to hold their applause until all names are called so that we can hear every student's name. Michael Brenner, Jessica Briggs, Kate Beretta, Kevin Butler, Heather Chalfin, Raghu Chibukula, Rachel Gottlieb Smith, Thomas Heflin, Matthew Huddle, Bonnie Cass, Camilo Molina, John Moser, Aaron Perry, Naomi Rios, David Santiago de Apa, Neelam Shah, Brett Wanamaker, Eunice Yang, and Jessica Yang. Congratulations, folks. You may be seated. In recognition of excellent academic performance during their studies in either medicine or graduate school in the School of Medicine, the following students from undergraduate schools who did not have Phi Beta Kappa chapters have been elected to that National Honor Society. Again, please stand when I call your name. Francois Gould, Julie Ng, Zhiming Yang, Farron Zhang, and Yi Zhang. Congratulations, folks. The Warfield T. Longcoat Prize in Clinical Medicine was established in honor of Dr. Longcoat and recognizes that graduating student entering the field of medicine whose performance in clinical medicine exemplifies the outstanding performance and in an outstanding fashion the academic excellence and the human qualities that mark the true physician. As with this award and all, I would ask the student to please stand and be recognized, and you will be able to get your award right after the convocation. This year's recipient of the Longcoat Prize in Internal Medicine is Erin Perry. Erin. The Helen and Harold Harrison Award recognizes remarkable achievements of both Drs. Helen and Harold Harrison. This award recognizes outstanding proficiency in pediatrics. This year, there are two awardees, Jonathan Moser and Anirudh Ramesh. The William Stewart Halstead Award, established in honor of Dr. Halstead, the first professor and director of the Department of Surgery, recognizes that graduating student entering that field whose proficiency in the discipline is deemed outstanding by the faculty of the sections of surgical sciences. This year's awardee is Raghu Chivukula. The Emily Sims Haller Prize in Obstetrics was established in 1993 to recognize outstanding medical students for their clinical work in the field of obstetrics and gynecology, and also in recognition of outstanding work of nationally published research in that discipline. This year's recipient is Suzanne Westbrook van Lendingham. The Society for Academic Medicine Award recognizes a senior medical student who has demonstrated excellence in the specialty of emergency medicine. This year's recipient is Paul Logan Wyant. The American Academy of Neurology Prize for Excellence in that discipline is awarded by the American Academy of Neurology annually to a graduating medical student who exemplifies in outstanding fashion scientific achievement and clinical acumen in neurology or neuroscience, as well as the outstanding personal qualities of integrity, compassion, and leadership. This year's awardee is Bonnie Cass. The Novi Prize in Psychological Medicine recognizes a graduating student with an outstanding academic record in psychiatry who has written the best paper on the connection between medical illnesses and mental life. This year's awardee is Nicole Leistico. The Stephen J. Ryan MD Prize in Ophthalmology was established by Stephen Ryan, a graduate from the class of 1965. This prize is awarded to a graduating Johns Hopkins medical student with an outstanding academic record who is entering the field of ophthalmology. And for a second time today, the recipient is Suzanne Westbrook van Landingham.
The
David E. Rogers Award was established by the Johns Hopkins Health System in honor of David E. Rogers, Dean of the School of Medicine from 1968 through 71. It is presented annually to 2 students who have exemplified the highest standards of professionalism, medical ethics, and community leadership. The members of the graduating class receiving the award this year are Stephanie Fontana and Stephen Jurassic. Please stand and be recognized.
I'd like to take a moment to recognize the marshals and hooders for today's ceremony. They were chosen by the students, and it's an honor to have them here today. Would the marshals and hooders please stand and be recognized? And I'd like to present a number of awards to the faculty. The George J. Stewart Award is presented to an outstanding clinical teacher and is selected by a member of the senior class. The recipient this year is Dr. Juliana Jung from the Department of Emergency Medicine. The W. Barry Wood Jr. Award for Excellence in Teaching is awarded annually to teachers voted by the in the preclinical years to have been most inspirational and or effective. This award was granted by this class 2009 to 2010 to Dr. Khalil Ghanem of the Department of Medicine and Dr. Michael Choi, also from the Department of Medicine, and Dr. Ghanem and Choi were previously honored for their selection by the class of 2013. Congratulations. The House Staff Award, recognizing outstanding clinical teaching by a member of the House staff, emphasizes the importance that students attach to the value of House officers as teachers. The award this year is being presented to Dr. Monica Lemon from the Department of Neurology. Would Dr. Lemon please come forward? The Graduate Student Teaching Award recognizes that faculty member whose skills as a teacher, role model, and advisor are regarded as exemplary by graduate students. The members of the faculty receiving this award this year is Dr. Jeff Bucher of the Department of Molecular Biology and Genetics and the Oncology Center. Will Jeff please come forward? On the behalf of Johns Hopkins University Alumni Association, it's my pleasure to present the 21st Annual Alumni Association Excellence in Teaching Award to Dr. Colleen Christmas, Associate Professor in the Department of Medicine at Bayview. This award, created by the Alumni Association, recognizes faculty for outstanding contributions as a teacher. Will Dr. Christmas please come forward? The recipients of the Professors Award for Excellence in Teaching are nominated by professors on our faculty and selected from these nominations by a committee of faculty, professors, and representatives of the House staff, medical students, and graduate students. The winner of the Professors Award for Excellence in Teaching in the Preclinical Sciences this year is Dr. Khalil Ghanem, the Associate Professor in the Department of Medicine. Will he please come forward? The winner of this year's Professor Award for Excellence in Teaching in the Clinical Sciences is Dr. Hoover Atker, Jr., Professor in the Department of Pediatrics. Will Hoover please come forward? The winner of the Professor's Award for Excellence in Teaching in both preclinical and clinical sciences is Dr. Michael Borowitz, Professor in the Department of Pathology. Would Dr. Borowitz please come forward? The Rannis W. Crosby Distinguished Achievement Award for Scholarly Contributions to the Advancement of Art as Applied to the Medical Sciences was established in 1986. This year, the recipient of the Rannis W. Crosby Distinguished Achievement Award is Dr. John Cody. He studied medical illustration at Hopkins under Rannis from 1948 to 1950. He later obtained his medical degree and practiced psychiatry for over 40 years. We take this opportunity to recognize his accomplishments as a true Renaissance man and distinguished Hopkins alumnus. Unfortunately, Dr. Cody couldn't be here today, so Ms. Corinne Sandone will receive the award in his place. Will Ms. Sandone please come forward?
Good afternoon once again. It is my pleasure to begin the hooding ceremonies. This is the part of the ceremony that I like the best. Today our degree recipients will receive their hoods from faculty they've selected. And to begin then, what I would like to do is to ask the recipients of the Master of Arts degree and the Master of Science degree to come forward so that we may present you with your diploma and your hood. The degrees themselves, I might comment, were awarded at this morning's university commencement. So please come forward. And now I would also like to ask the hooders in the row with Mr. Lees to come forward as well and to line up in order to be able to give hoods to your students. Just checking. Our first degrees, our graduates, are from the Department of Art as Applied to Medicine, where they have each earned the Master of Arts degree from the program in Medical and Biological Illustration. They will be hooded by Mr. Gary Lees, who is the chairman of the department and the director of that graduate program. Our first candidate is Hannah On. Next, Anastasia Demson. And now, Amy Dixon. Kyung Gran Yun, who, by the way, is the designer of our program this evening, so get an extra round of applause. Natalie Kosko. And our final Master of Art recipient, Heidi Sensel. Thank you, Mr. Lees. I'd like next to call on Dr. Joseph Finkelstein from the Division of Health Science Informatics to hood our next graduate. Each of the next graduates has earned a master's degree in health science informatics. The first one, to being hooded by Dr. Finkelstein, is David Oneme. The next group of graduates will be hooded by Dr. Harold Lehman of that department and director of that program, Danning He. Next is Gloria Opokubotan. Alvin Vaughn. Fei Wang. Han Jae Wang. And last, Xiaoli Wu. Thank you, Dr. Lehman. I would like now to ask the recipients of the Doctor of Philosophy degree to come forward to receive their hoods. Again, I note that the degree itself was conferred this morning at the university commencement, but our graduates will now receive their diploma and their hoods from faculty advisors and mentors. As they're lining up to receive their hoods, I might make a few comments by way of general introduction. This year we're celebrating the graduation of 164 of our graduate students altogether from our 15 graduate programs. 15 have received the master's degree in arts, 12 have received the Master of Science degree, and fully 137 have earned the PhD degree. We're fortunate to be able to congratulate the 107 students who are here with us today. And I might also point out that several of these recipients will be crossing the stage more than once. We have 9 candidates who have received both the PhD degree as well as the MD degree. So you'll see them twice. So let's begin with our first PhD graduate. I invite Dr. Faizan Abdullah to hood his student, Divya Nalayanda. Dr. Mary Armanios will hood Erin Parry. Dr. Amy Bastian is going to be hooding Gauri Jayaram. Dr. Michael Beer will be hooding our next 2 students. Raul Karnik is our first recipient. And Dongwen Lee are next. Dr. Pablo Chelnik will give a hood to his graduate, Gabriela Cantarero. And Kangyan Gwyn will receive her hood from Dr. Aravinda Chakravarti. Dr. Elizabeth Chen is hooding our next 2 candidates, Nan Hong next year. Thank you. and Peng Jin. Dr. Philip Cole will be hooding his first student today, Beverly Dancy. And the next, Benjamin Nassif. Emma Roach is our next candidate to be hooded by Dr. Charles Connor. And Dr. Connor will also hood Catherine Scott. Dr. Chi Van Dang has returned briefly from the University of Pennsylvania to hood his student, Arvin Goel. Dr. Valerie DeLeon will hood Evan Garofalo. Dr. Angelo DeMarco will be hooding Lakshmi Slider. And now Dr. Harry Dietz will hood Stephanie Fontana, who you met before. Thank you, Dr. Dietz. Will the hooders in the row with Dr. Drake please come forward? Dr. Drake will be hooding his graduate, Nicholas Durham. Dr. Susan Eshelman will be hooding Matthew Cousins to begin with. And next, Jessica Fogel. And third, Maria James. It's been a good year for Dr. Eshelman. Dr. Peter Espenshade will be hooding Julianne Lloyd. Dr. Andrew Feinberg will be giving a hood to Brian Herb. And now Dr. John Gerhardt, also returning briefly from the University of Pennsylvania, will hood his student, Paul Estesso. Nupura Bisay will be hooded by her advisor, Dr. Jordan Green. And Nicholas Roberts will be hooded by Dr. Kenneth Kinsler. Dr. Gaano Lamachine will be hooding our next two students, the first of whom is Sartha Pele. And then Maya Schoonmaker. Raga Chibakuba will be hooded by Dr. Stephen Leach. And now Dr. Andrei Lechenko will hood David Ellison to begin with. And Christopher Smith. Dr. Svetlana Lysenko will be hooding Lawrence Gray. And Dr. Carolyn Mockamer will be hooding Julianne Lassard.
Dr. Peter Maloney will be hooding Maria Martinez Ferrando.
And now Dr. Bradford May will be hooding Matthew Roos. David Gorkin is our next recipient, who will be hooded by Dr. Andrew McCallion. Dr. Elliot McVeigh is going to be hooding first David Simca. And then Jason Simpson. Thank you, Dr. McVeigh. Would the hooders in the row with Dr. Myers please come forward? Dr. Myers will be hooding her student, John Bitok. And Dr. Susan Michaelis will be hooding Matthew Maurer. At this point, Dr. Craig Montel will be giving a hood to San Hong Kim. And as these next students line up, perhaps I'll tell you just a little bit more about this group, a very talented one. As Dr. Caney reminded you, the awards won by our graduates are listed in the program, at least the awards that they've earned while here at Hopkins. But that's not the entire story by any means. Altogether, as a group, they've authored nearly 700 publications during their time here. They have 20 patents in their names, and they have earned 60 national or international awards that are not listed in the program. And I'm not going to have time, of course, to mention each one individually, but I thought to give you a flavor, I might make a few more comments. For example, you've already met, across the stage, Natalie Cusco. Natalie was awarded the Inez de Monet Award from the Vesalius Trust in recognition of her position as the nation's most skilled graduate in medical illustration. The Vesalius Trust has, in fact, honored 4 of our artists with research grants in support of their work. Good. Craig Montel will now hood San Hung Kim. And next, Wei Shen. Dr. Susumu Mori will be hooding Yu Li. And Yajing Zhang. Dr. Lane Ostrander will be hooding Erica Kwan. Dr. Drew Pardot is going to be hooding Wang Yuzhang. Our next hooder is Dr. Jonathan Powell, who will first be hooding Chelsea Black. Yingjie Nuo. Kristen Polisi. And we're not finished yet. Adam Wakeland. So Dr. Powell wins this year's prize for the most students. Next will be Dr. Rajni Rao, who will hood her student, Anisha Hack. Dr. Randall Reed will first hood Adrian Quensa. And John Robinson. Tamara Johnson will receive her hood from Dr. Ronald Rodriguez. Francois Gould will receive his hood from Dr. Kenneth Rose. And Dr. Noel Rose will hood the next 2 students, Komeng Ouyang and Xiao Yi Wu. The next hooder is Dr. Lawrence Schramm. Okay, good. Deborah Castillo. Dr. Teresa Shapiro will be hooding Sonia Tang Girdwood. And Dr. Janet Silicana will hood the first of her two students, Mame Salpa. And Sifa Thing. Dr. Solomon Snyder will be hooding Gary Ho. Thank you, Dr. Snyder. Now, will the hooders in the row with Dr. Sokanathan please come forward? Dr. Shantini Sokanathan will be giving a hood to her student, Marianelli Rodriguez. Now, Dr. Mark Solosky will provide a hood for Stephanie Liu. And next, Mikhail Milrod. Dr. Honjun Yasong will be hooding Unchai Kang. And Dennis Sasikuma will receive a hood from Dr. Bates Duforn. Dr. Saraswati Sukumar will be hooding Yolanda Hillocks Foster. And now Dr. Natalia Troyanova will be giving a hood to Jason Bayer. Dr. David Valley will be hooding Nara Sobrera. And Ann Martin will receive her hood from Dr. Rudiger Bonderheit. Dr. Catherine Whartonby provides a hood for Jason Rosenzweig. And Dr. Catherine Wilson will be hooding Jason Burke. Anchi Wei will receive her hood from Dr. Raymond Winslow. And now Anthony DeBello will receive his hood from Dr. Cynthia Wilbur. Dr. Philip Wong provides a hood for Stephanie Lin. And now Paul Worley will be hooding Young Na. David Yu will provide a hood for Philemon Yang. Thank you, Dr. Yu. Stay here. I'm asking Dr. Yu to stay here to help with hooding because our next group of students will be hooded by Dr. Buka, who has chosen to hood those candidates whose mentors and advisors could not be here today. The first of these will be Kimberly Doring. And next, Andrew Dufresne. And now, Caitlin Engelhardt. And I'd ask our next group of students to come forward. As this last group come forwards, I would like to say finally congratulations to our faculty. As you notice, we've asked our faculty to line up on stage in order to meet their students sort of together at the same time. We don't often ask something quite as complex of our faculty as this. So I thank them very much for their success. Our next candidate is Avina Nanakan. And you've already met Lisa Huang. Jing Huang. Helen Jun. Min Sik Kim. Yun Sil Lee. Yang Pan Yu. Elizabeth McDonald. Melissa Miller. And now Matthew Shirley. Jessica Simmers. Eric Stevens. And our last graduate, Theron Zhang. And so one final round of applause for that class of 2015.
Will the recipients of the degree Doctor of Medicine please come forward so that we may present you with your diploma and hood. The medical students will be hooded by two faculty members chosen by that class. Dr. Charlie Weiner, current Dean of the Pradana University Graduate School of Medicine, and Dr. Jules Young from the Department of Emergency Medicine, this year's George Stewart Award winner. Our first student is Hamid Alai. Anubhav Amin. Javad Azai. Jillian Barron. Kaylin Beck. David Bernholt. Allison Berry. Neil Butiani. Michael Brenner. Jessica Briggs. Benjamin Brinson. Megan Burrish. Kate Beretta. Kevin Butler. Heather Chalfin. Ian Chen. Raghu Chibukula. Lauren Clough. Nathan Cutler. Meghna Desle. David Doe. Jonathan Dudley. Jared Eddy. Laura Ellington. Caitlin Engelhardt. Paul Esteso. Our next graduate, Emily Flynn, will be hooded by her father, faculty member Dr. John Flynn. Brian Goldner. Chad Gorbotkin. Rachel Gottlieb Smith. Lark Greenwald. I'll ask the next students to please come forward. Our next graduate is Yao Yao Guan. Vikash Gupta. Zachary Gus. Thomas Hanf. Thomas Heflin. Margaret Hine. Gary Ho. Ro Wen Huan. Matthew Huddle. Adam Idris. Christopher Jackson. Stephen Jacobson. Rohan Joshi. Stephen Jurchak et al. Bonnie Cass. Christina Kim. Daria Kizub. Yun Ting Kwang. Nicole Leistico. Jason Leibowitz. Thomas Link. Diana Liu. Lucy Liu. Ming Hao Liu. S. Julianne Lloyd. Sarah Madanikia. Douglas Hale McMichael. Stephen Menez. Heather Metcalf. Marco Mercetic. Amir Mohareb. Camilo Molina. Craig Monson. Jonathan Moser. Euphemia Mu. Benjamin Nasev. David Narodsky. Julie Ng. Ashwini Niranjan. Roosevelt Ofoha. Aaron Perry. Birju Patel. Laurel Pellegrino. Louis Piper. James Pirucello. Velma Postigo Martel. Could ask the next students to please come forward. Our next graduate is Sarah Pereira. Anirudh Ramesh. Sundesh Rao. Anne-Marie Rick. Naomi Rios. Marianelli Rodriguez. Megan Rybarczyk. David Santiago de Apo. Saranya Selvaraj. Neelam Shah. Adrian Shapiro. Anna Sick. Carl Street. Vernicia Tam. Sonia Tang Girdwood. John Thompson. Albert Baca. Suzanne Van Landringham. Cristina Velasquez. Eugene Shenderov. Matthew Vogt. Brett Wanamaker. Rudy Wang. Paul Logan Wyant. Joseph Wasi. Molly Wilson Murphy. Lila Warden. Eunice Yang. Jesse Yang. Jessica Yang. Phyllis Young. Jithin Yohanan. Nank Yuen. John Zampella. And now our last graduate today, Yasmin Zerhouni, will be hooded by her parents, Drs. Elias Zerhouni and Dr. Nadia Zerhouni. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in one last round of applause for the newly graduated physicians of the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine. Be welcome, colleagues.
Distinguished graduates, families, friends, faculty, and guests, it's a great honor to lead the medical graduates of the class of 2013 in reciting the Hippocratic Oath. Hippocrates, born in 460 BC on the Greek island of Kos, is traditionally regarded as the father of medicine. The oath dates to this era of antiquity, and although it's unclear whether it was written by Hippocrates or instead by his followers, it is a timeless and poetic statement that serves even today as a moral code for physicians. For more than 200 years, it has been tradition for medical students to recite the oath at their graduation. Graduates, 3 years ago, your class composed a profession of values statement for your white coat ceremony to serve as a guidepost for your care of patients in medical school. In it, you declared, "We will strive each day for excellence in our lives and in the practice of medicine. We recognize that medicine is both a science and an art in which knowledge is applied with empathy, altruism, and patience. As stewards of our patients' health, we will treat each patient as a human being rather than as a collection of diseases. We promise to listen to our patients, to earn their trust, and to partner with them." As you now recite the oath, may your voices affirm this unwavering commitment to your patients, to your profession, and to your richly developed values. Will the new School of Medicine graduates please rise and together recite the oath of Hippocrates, repeating each phrase after me. I do solemnly swear by that which I hold most sacred that I will be fully committed to those I serve and just and loyal to the profession of medicine and its members, that I will lead my life and practice my art in uprightness and honor, that into whatsoever house I shall enter, it shall be for the good of the sick, to the utmost of my power, holding myself aloof from wrong, from corruption, and from the tempting of others to vice. That I will exercise my art solely for the care of my patients, and will give no drug and perform no operation without justifiable purpose, nor ever suggest it. That whatsoever I shall see or hear of the lives of men and women, which is not fitting to be spoken, I will keep inviolably secret. These things I do promise. And in proportion as I am faithful to this my oath, may happiness and good repute be ever mine. The opposite if I shall be forsworn. Congratulations, doctors.
And to close this ceremony, I invite everyone to stand. And I invite our new graduates to receive this blessing. May you seek humility in all that you accomplish. May you find meaning in your caring. May you embrace mystery and things unknown. May you discover what it means to be a healer. May you help others see the preciousness of life. And may all your work symbolize your compassion and genuine care for all of humanity. Amen.